we set up the operations and we put a growth plan together and we developed the talent, and then came 2, 3, 4, 5 investor money and bada bing, bada bing, bada bing.
Hi, welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week, I get to interview another one of my FCSI favorite members. This member has over 40 years of experience in the food service industry that I'm looking forward to learning more about. He's an author, a speaker, a teacher, a mentor, and many other more descriptive words. Please welcome the original founder of Carte Food Service Consulting Group, Mr. Chris Tripoli. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Wade, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We've spent a lot of time together over the years. You've done a lot of talks for me over the years, and so I was excited when your name came up to be on this season 5.
Yes.
All these episodes start off with the same way, and that is we kind of want to know a little bit more about you and Chris and where you got your start and kind of like your brief historical journey to get you to being a food service consultant. So tell us a little bit about your background and what led to starting Carte.
Well, it was kind of an unusual journey in that I just started as a young teenager, working in kitchens. I worked in a restaurant. I was raised in Phoenix, Arizona. My first job, I just liked what was going on. I liked what was going on in the kitchen. I had no idea that it was a very high-end, fine dining, because what do you know? You're 15. I thought every steak was like that.
Yeah.
I thought everybody got the loins delivered and you wrapped them in the rock salt and you had a dry age room for 3 weeks and you cut them to order. I mean, what did I know?
Yeah.
So I was in a phenomenal situation. I had a really good manager who just saw that I was a kid who was interested. And so I learned my very first lesson right there because he was the first person who told me something that I've repeated for years. And he said, if you're interested, then you're going to do well because we'll give you an opportunity. If you show effort with your opportunity, then you will get better. You'll have fun. You'll learn more. So what became out of that job was I just went there every single day after work. I mean, after school. So from sophomore on, I was there, and it was an evening-only high-end steakhouse. They had me there during the day to check in deliveries. I learned the books. I took reservations. I was pantry. I was bussing tables, and I was in love. I thought if I could just someday manage a restaurant for others, you could make a good living doing that. You'd have fun serving people. There's a lot of energy. What a good, industry to be in.
Yeah.
Lord knows I, did a whole lot more than that, but that was my start way back in the, late 60s, 70s. I'm really aging myself now as just a kid who really liked working in the business, and I never left it.
What made you become a food service consultant though?
I sort of morphed into that. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
I moved to Houston, Texas, young kid, 22, and became a small team of young guys that had hotel restaurant management background, and a financial investor said, I'm going to put a team of young guys together and I'm going to come up with a concept and develop a chain. I found that tremendously challenging. So I moved from Phoenix, went to Houston, got involved in learning systems and principles of opening, expanding. We did one interesting casual, slow smoked meat, Southern style barbecue concept. And then in a very short period of time, opened 7. So I went from management to supervision to understanding finance to doing new site openings. I loved it. I only left that group because along the way, I had an opportunity to raise funds on my own and start doing my own businesses. So for about a decade, I did 4 different restaurants and had a ball. Had some good years, had some bad years, learned a lot, developed people, and ran my own restaurant company. So that gets me one step closer to consulting. And that step was, while I owned my restaurants, I met an interesting couple of guys that were running a very large nationwide nightclub company. They were more interested in moving towards restaurants and stopping with the nightclubs. I joined their group, knowing, of course, nothing about nightclubs. They didn't need that. My job was to help them develop restaurant concepts. We did some contract management. We did some airport management development of concepts and moving small businesses in. Phenomenally challenging, really enjoyed it. And we created a restaurant concept, a high end seafood restaurant called Trulux. We did the first one in Houston. So, not too much after that. We're now in the mid 90s, and that company is going through a bit of a change. Some of the ownership likes the new direction with food service. I got the sense that
Yeah.
some didn't. The company's going to split. In any event, there's no more restaurant development for me. I'm a very small department, and so I'm being told it's time to go. And so that's when I felt like I really enjoyed the concept development, the team building. I really enjoyed the assistance that is needed part of this. So I thought I'm just going to start doing that for
Yeah.
smaller companies. And that's basically how I got into consulting.
Nice.
That's how my first consulting company, a la carte, was developed back in the mid 90s. And I grew that company and had a ball for about 25 years.
Nice. Now, you worked with a lot of restaurant brands, obviously. And so tell us a little bit about, without, you don't have to go into a lot of detail because I don't want to put you on the spot too much here, but tell us maybe one or two of the brands you had the most fun working with, and then maybe one or two brands that were probably the most challenging to work with.
That's a great question. So the largest company that I ever had an opportunity to work with, and this was one of my best memories because it was sort of a challenge for me, was the Sonic Drive-In people based in Oklahoma City. A
Mm-hmm.
phenomenally smart company. And when they wanted to develop initiatives, they brought in some of the franchisees. They had their own corporate overhead department heads, and then they would reach out and bring in an industry analyst. So when they were deciding should they do the double drive-through, which was a big thing years ago, or
Yeah.
should they do other concepts, when they were debating how to do their breakfast rollout, I got to play a role in that, and that was
Nice.
really interesting for me. It was interesting to see that independent-minded opinions would be important on a venue
Yeah.
that large or to a company that big. So that was really interesting. Another really interesting company was to watch the phenomenal and steady growth of Freebird's Burritos, knowing that in a little town called College Station, Texas, I got to work in the very first one with the original owner, Pierre Dubé, and we set up the operations and we put a growth plan together and we developed the talent, and then came 2, 3, 4, 5 investor money, and bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. 50, 60, 70 units.
Yeah.
Bear Simonian is another wonderful story with his healthy salad bar concept that he and his brother did called Salada. And they were
Yeah.
wonderful to work with. They had a good idea, good quality product, but didn't necessarily have right people, right systems, et cetera. So our team set that up. We got them registered. We got them developed for franchising. By the time they opened their second unit, they were already set up nationally to go franchise. I think they have 95
Wow.
units now or something.
Wow.
But on the other side of the coin, though, some of my most memorable concepts are the smaller, interesting couples.
Yeah.
That you wonder, why did you decide to do this? You're successful in your own business.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait to take early retirement, risk most everything that you've saved to go open up a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at me saying, the good news is I'm in the business. Yay.
Yeah.
What's the bad news? I'm in the
In
business.
the business. Yeah, that's right.
I can't turn back. I have to learn as I go. I don't really know if I'm making enough money. I don't handle people correctly. I'm not managing product. Anyway, you know the headaches. So
Yeah.
you get a lot of satisfaction when you work with clients like that. You almost become an extended member of the family.
Right.
And then you look back years later and there's Lee and Tracy, in Alexandria, Louisiana, doing well. And there's Lanny Gardner, in a tiny little city called Ramrod Keys, Florida, and he's killing them. Volume's good. So anyway, tremendous satisfaction looking back.
Yeah. The other thing is, and you touched a little bit on this, and I want to pick a little bit deeper into this one, and that is you write a lot of articles, you've spoken at a lot of events and stuff, worked with a lot of brands, like you said, from small mom and pops to bigger chains. What are 3 to 4, maybe even up to 5 of the same mistakes you see? Pretty much, it doesn't matter how big you are, that you see restaurants make that either doom them or put them in danger of being out.
Well, again, a great point to make. I'm sure any other consultant member listening to this will be able to see that, there are some consistencies. There's constancies across the board, whether you're dealing with, say, a food and beverage department in a school
Yep.
system, or whether you're dealing with, say, a hotel. I've had some really good, interesting experiences concepting for, large hotel groups. Whether it is maybe more healthcare related or restaurant related. The one thing that's a constant is there's a formula for success, and it's the same one. It starts with people,
Yeah.
then you add the product plus process and procedures to get to profitability. There's no shortcut. Just because you work with a really good chef and he's won a James Beard Award and he's walking on water and his food is terrific doesn't mean he automatically gets to profit. See, and that's a problem that we get when he goes, my food is fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. You can't get in here. How come I'm running a bad business? And that has come up, or you find people that have good people and they can't hold on to their people because they don't have a structure. They don't have processes and procedures to retain staff. So these are some of the constancies that I will see across the board, whether it's a tiny mom and pop bakery or say a multi-million-dollar food and beverage management group with hotels nationwide. I try to break down their issues into what's the people-related issue, how are we going to create a program, how are we going to structure leadership so you've got a culture that attracts and retains correctly.
Right.
And then how are we going to manage product correctly? And then how do we adjust your processes and procedures so that we can maintain consistency? If those three things don't fit, and many times they don't, then you're going to have a trouble creating profitability.
So I know that, well, according to you, to me, you've retired 4 or 5 times at this point, which I know doesn't really happen ever. And you're not the only one. Many consultants go through the same thing. You think you're going to walk away and sort of semi-retire, and then a client that you worked with comes back into play and, come on, Chris, just one more, and you do it. And I get it. I do. And you hope that you have that at the end of your career. You really do, because that means the client loves you so much that it's got to be with you. And so I think that's very flattering in one side. But on the other side, you're trying to walk away a little bit and trying to go into a little bit of retirement. So, as you've started to sunset with a la carte and stuff, I know you work with a few other consultants and kind of mentored them and trying to get them working with you so you can kind of help them take over or whatever. What does being a mentor like that mean to you? And how do you cultivate those relationships?
That's that's a wonderful feeling when you can look back. Like I look back with pride to see that the company that I started, a la carte, is continuing to exist. I sold it over 4 years ago. Ashley Rosenfeld and her team are doing a good job. They're continuing the same mission. They're helping people launch businesses. They're helping small businesses operate better. And they're working on some unusual other interesting projects too. So there is tremendous pride when you look back and see that, a new chapter is written. I don't own it. I have nothing to do with it, but it's kind of cool to know that something I created can enter into its next chapter with new leadership and different people. It's almost like, I don't know, I don't want to sound too patronizing, but you almost look at these things like a child. I mean, you look at the company like I gave it birth and now it's grown and it's under the tutelage of other people and it's continuing to grow and it's doing well. And so there's that love and connection as if it's a family member. And to your point, you're right. I think what I learned by selling a la carte and by moving, from Houston to a smaller hillside community, quieter, hill country, Texas, beautiful, love it. You go out in the morning, you feed the deer, you feed the fox, you walk around, you get in the lake. It's quiet, it's cool, it's wonderful. But what I've been loving about that is that it gave me an opportunity to do what I call the fun stuff.
Right.
So my retirement has been filled with more time to write. I do projects with other consultants that I know, they're kind of fun. I've been doing an awful lot of content development for a website called restaurantowner.com, which to most restaurants, large and small, is just a phenomenal one-stop shop on the web today. I do their podcast. I'm doing a podcast called
Yep.
Corner Booth, having a
Yep.
ball, talking to entrepreneurs, having them share their stories. So this is the fun stuff, and it keeps you active.
Yeah.
It kind of keeps you current, which I want to do, but without
Yeah.
any of the hard work. Now you ready for the funny side of that?
Yeah.
Then one day you get a phone call from your younger brother,
Uh-oh.
who's after 22 years of being a COO for a phenomenally successful $90 million, 13 location restaurant company, leaves that position, and he's going to start doing leadership consulting for restaurant management, restaurant owners. So the company there is called Restaurant Doctors. I'm really proud of him. He's formed a small group. They're great guys. They're getting started. They've got some good clients. So guess what? I've now become a restaurant doctor. I'm doing work with my brother. He pulls you back in, and and I'm working like a busy consultant again.
Oh, see, I told you. You keep trying. You keep talking about leaving, and then you just never know.
I know. I don't think it'll last that long. I really don't. But I do want to just kind of have fun with his first few projects. It's going to be
Yeah.
fond memories for me, help develop the business for him. And then he's probably going to, outwork me, outgrow me, and I can slow down and, live on the hillside a little more then.
Well, because it's your brother, we'll act like that you're talking to him right now, because it leads me into my next question, and that is, what's the biggest piece of advice you give to people, regardless whether they're a recent college graduate or somebody like in your brother who's been in the industry for a long time but decides, you know what, I want to become a consultant now instead of running an operation or running a multitude of operations or whatever it may be. What is, and I'm kind of asking everybody this season, but for you now, it's really important because it's your brother. What's the biggest piece of advice you give your brother when he's now thinking of becoming a food service consultant?
Um, I actually told him, I said, that the best things that I look back on, the most memorable, most successful things is when I look back and felt like I led with passion. If you're not passionately interested, it's not worth your time. And you follow up with listening. You want to
Yeah.
be a good consultant. It isn't about walking in the room knowing more than anyone else. It isn't how much you can say. It's not impressing somebody with what you've done. It's how well you listen.
Yep.
Because the more you understand their situation, their point of view, the better you're going to be able to help them, and obviously the most successful. So that's what I told them. The motto really is lead with passion, follow up with listening, and then you'll be a good consultant. And
I agree.
I think he's going to be great at this.
That's awesome. Congratulations to him. And I guess to you for being sucked back in as well.
Absolutely. Well, here's what I've learned in my 4 years of retirement. Retirement is it's like taking medicine. It's good for you. You just don't ever
Yeah.
want to take too much.
There you go.
I
That's fair.
think that's it. The days where you said you retired and it really meant that it was end of working are long gone. I don't see anybody that I know wanting to get a recliner and watch daytime TV. But I think retiring just means sort of an end of what it was you were doing. And now maybe you slow down, but you just do something else. And I'm still leading with passion, still doing things that I think I'm going to be interested in. And hopefully that's the way most of the consultants have selected their jobs. Really.
I agree.
Because today what happens, I think, is when you're meeting a potential client, large company or small company, we know that they're interviewing you as the consultant to see your proposal. Are you going to fit?
Mm-hmm.
What have you done? Does it make sense? Okay, I get that part. What they don't normally realize is that good consultants are interviewing them.
Mm-hmm.
We're listening. We want to know that, am I really going to be able to make positive impact here? Am I really going to be able to win in this situation? Do I want to work with this? Because my mission statement for years with consulting was simply doing jobs with people that I like on projects that I think I'm going to like. And so sometimes you walk from a job if you don't think there's a connection. But as long as you're working with a group of people that you like, it makes the work go easier. And as long as you select projects that you think you're going to like, 90% of the time you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had opportunities with AMC as an AMC owner to association management company, not the theater, But as the owner of the AMC, some clients I've been contacted in the past about potentially managing them, and you can tell very quickly when you're talking to the leader of an association. I look at it real quickly like I'm definitely more interviewing you than you are me, because we're going to be working side by side quite regularly, and I want to know that we're going to get along well and it's not going to be a fight. Because if I'm going to be in a constant battle with a board as your staff,
Yeah.
then we're not going to do our job properly, and it's going to take away my staff. Then is not going to be happy with their job, and they're not going to stay. And if they're
Yeah.
not going to stay, then it didn't do any good, and I'm just going to be rotating people through. So it's finding that the people that are passionate, but then finding the right client to work with as well. I agree 100%.
That's the best way to do it.
Aside from food service, that we know that you've been passionate about now for a number of years, what's the one thing about Chris Tripoli somebody would never guess by either meeting you or briefly talking to you?
Okay. Here's something that I don't think anyone would guess. I actually enjoy listening to holiday music when it isn't holiday time. Okay, there you go. I've shown you my dark side.
So it's February now when we're filming, and you're still listening to Christmas music.
Yeah, and in a couple of months, I'll be giving it up, and then I don't know. I can play some Christmas music once it gets to be August or September.
I get it. I get it though, because it brings up music has a profound effect on people's emotions, as we all know. And if that takes you to being the little kid in your life again, or the peaceful part of you, and that's what it takes to get you there, I completely get it. I do that when I'm driving long distance. I don't listen to music. I listen to comedy channels now.
Yeah.
I just want to laugh. I don't want to think. By doing that, it just brings me more joy to my drive. So why not? Regardless, I will probably make fun of you for it at some point when we see each other.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would be surprised if you didn't. I just know that somewhere in there, you made a little note of that, and
I did.
You're going to be talking about, I don't know,
right here.
Saint Nick, or there's going to be. I'll be getting some text about "Hark the Angels Sing" or something.
Yeah, or the next time you get up on stage to talk, it'll be your walk-up music will be some Christmas tune or something of that nature. Absolutely, absolutely. What is if you weren't in the food service industry at all, what do you think you would have done?
I would have gone into community service at a food bank. If I have more time, that's my community outlet. I probably would have, if I wasn't in food service, I would have probably enjoyed doing the food banking because it's been my go-to community involvement. All the years I've been in restaurants, it's been the community project that I would donate time and funds to. Enjoyed my board service when I was at the food bank there. I follow most of the national food source. It's just an issue that I find, well, not only very serious and significant in today's society, but it's also one of the most basic ones that I really think we can actually solve. And so I would, if I wasn't, then I would have probably been in that line of business trying to solve it.
Okay. Well, that's all the formal questions I've got for you today, Chris. But as you know, we're going to have a little bit of fun to end this thing. And I've gone back from the past 4 seasons and found some of my favorite ones and some of the ones that have gotten the best reactions from people. So we'll just dive into them.
Oh, boy. So this is best of the best.
It is. Best of the best. The first one, would you rather be able to teleport anywhere in the world or be able to read minds?
Read minds.
Okay.
Yeah, that would just be interesting.
This may have changed for you now that you're living in
what you're thinking right now. I can't believe.
You've known me and you know what I'm thinking. This may have changed because you've moved to the hill country, so I'm anxious to hear how it would have been versus what it is now. Would you rather have all traffic lights you approach be green or never have to stand in line again?
Never stand in line again.
Okay. When you lived in Houston, would you have the same thing, or would you rather do the traffic lights?
No, absolutely no. If you're in the land of traffic lights, you want them all green. But
All
the
right, that's
moment
what
I
I thought.
realized that, traffic and traffic lights are more secondary, the peacefulness of just being able to go into, like I can now, go
Yeah,
into a post office and have a friendly post office person behind the counter and maybe have only one other person in the building.
yeah,
That is ecstatic. To go to a grocery store where they only need like two cashiers
yeah,
and they're friendly and they know who you are. And there's like,
yeah.
wow. So yeah, I really like the idea of not having to wait in line. And if I'm in a crowded place and have to wait in line, it's like my blood pressure's going up.
I hear you. Would you rather fight a duck the size of a horse or 100 horses the size of a duck?
I think I'd take the 100 horses.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I might not, knock them all, but I think I would do okay on some.
When it comes to toilet paper rolls, are you an over or an under when it comes to toilet paper?
I'm an absolute over. I don't even think there's a choice there. Come on, guys. It's just there's one way the paper goes.
I would agree. Double dipping when it comes to food, whether it's a sauce or a dip, a cheese dip or guacamole or something like that. Allowed or not allowed?
Not allowed. Smack yourself.
All right. Favorite curse word?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if we can really use those words here.
You can. We'll bleep it out.
Okay, because it's just. It's just.
All right.
That's the.
That's right up there for me as well.
Yeah, it's just the all-encompassing.
Yes, I agree. Would you rather know all the secrets to outer space or know all the secrets of the ocean?
I think I would choose the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some secrets down there.
Yes. Would you rather never do laundry again or never have to do dishes again?
Definitely never do laundry.
All right.
I really don't mind a little bit of kitchen work.
Okay.
But I'm not even allowed in the laundry room. I'm horrible.
Would you rather go backstage with your favorite band or be an extra on your favorite TV show?
I'd want to go backstage. I mean, I can tell you right now, go backstage to hang with Van Morrison would just be the ticket of a lifetime.
There you go. Would you rather have a personal housekeeper or a personal chef?
Personal housekeeper, because I'll putz around in the kitchen, but the cleaning's got to go.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny with FCSI members. I don't know that many have chosen personal chefs.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. Would you rather have an annoying song stuck in your head all the time or always have an itch that you can't scratch?
Whoa. I think I'd have to. Oh, that's a toughie. But I think I'd have to take the song. I think the itch would be nuts. I'd probably be jumping out a window.
I agree. The itch just makes me itch thinking about it. The last one: would you rather give up your cell phone for an entire month, or give up bathing for an entire month?
You can take the cell phone today.
Okay, perfect.
I'm fine.
Perfect. Well, that's all we've got for you, Chris. How can people find out more about you?
Well, simply email me at chris@christripoli.com, or go to Restaurant Doctors, therestaurantdoctors.com. Now that's new, just getting set up. By the time this airs, it'll probably be rocking and rolling. That's my brother's website. I'm on both of them. You can find me there. And love to talk to anybody about anything that you're doing, what you're doing, and if I or anyone I know can assist on any of your projects, that's what we're here to do.
Well, that wraps up this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. A special thank you to Chris today for joining us on the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and also help us out by sharing these episodes with your social media feeds. Until our next episode, cheers.
Cheers.